Alright guys, welcome to this online lecture. The purpose of this lecture is to discuss the problem solving steps that we have already discussed, initial steps in class. Um, we'll be focusing on the fifth step, which is condensing the basic idea. So let's recap the steps that we've already discussed. So this is what we've discussed already. The problem that we're trying to solve is finding the sum of two numbers. And the steps that we discovered were the first step, visualize the problem, and that is doing some rough work, 3 to 5 examples. The next step was to identify the outputs, identify the inputs, identify the outputs. In our case, it's the sum of two numbers, identifying the inputs. In our case, it's two numbers. And Step 4 is express the basic idea, that is algorithm in English, writing the algorithm in English. And we discussed that the rules of writing the steps in English were that the first word should be a verb. So here we have step 4 in front of us, line 13, 14, 15. The first word should be a verb. In fact, each step should be a sentence, not just a sentence, but a verb sentence. That first word should be a verb. So this looks fine here. Secondly, each of these steps should look like a command. So naturally, if you have the sentence written as a verb sentence, so it will look like a command or instruction that you're giving to a computer. So take is a verb, add is a verb, display is a verb. All right. So the next we discussed that what happens when there's ambiguity, because natural language is ambiguous. So we have lots of words, and ambiguity, the reason for ambiguity is that we have lots of words in English. In a sentence, we can have lots of words. That's why ambiguity arises. So one of the solutions to remove ambiguity is to to reduce the number of words. So to reduce the words. So what we'll do is go one by one and look at each of the words in the basic idea that we have already written. And one of the things that we have kept in mind, obviously, is that the algorithm should follow the pattern of input, process, output. So the first step is input, the next step is for process, and this is for output. So input, process, output pattern should be visible clearly here, and that is done. So we have the basic idea in front of us. Now let's see how can we uh, remove the redundancy in this basic idea, which is in English, and English is a natural language, and natural language, the problems with natural language is that it's ambiguous. So now the next step is removing ambiguity. Let's see how we can do that. So in fact, by the way, this this text editor that you have in front of us is called Notepad++. So I'll just type it over here. It's Notepad++. So it's a really good text editor, especially for programmers. It's highly recommended because one of the reasons is you have these line numbers here, and also you can easily like editing is quite easy as compared to simple Notepad. So in whenever you do programming, so try to use this. So anyways, so go and install that, and whenever you have a file with you, so in order to open a file, you can just right click and click on edit with Notepad++. So when you install Notepad++, this option will be there for you. So when you click on edit with Notepad, it will open that text file in using Notepad++ program. Alright, so now next what you need to do is step 5. So I haven't written all the previous first 3 steps because we've already discussed that. So let's continue with step 5. So for step 5, since step 5 requires, or basically we'll be working on step 4, we'll be changing these sentences. So step 5, which is, I'll just copy paste here, and this is step 5, and this will eventually be our condensed form. Condensed form, and condensed means shortened form. So the short form for basic idea, that's what we're going to do. So let's see how. So we'll look at each and every word, and we'll see whether after removing that word, the meaning changes or not. So in other words, we need to remove those extra words. So take is an important word, we won't remove that. To is an important word because if we remove this, we won't know how many numbers. Numbers is an important word, we cannot remove that. As an extra is an extra word, we can remove that. Input, it's obvious that this statement is for input, so we can remove input maybe. And from also we can remove, similarly the, similarly user, because it's obvious we're using a computer, the user is using the computer, so it's obvious, pretty obvious that um, the input is obviously done by asking the user, so this is redundant. Similarly, let's move to the second sentence. The first word is add, it's important because this tells the operation. The is redundant, we can remove that. To is important because we need to add, how many numbers do we need to add, this word is giving that information. Numbers is important because it's telling what that data type is it a number or it's a text, whatever. Together is redundant because add, uh, the word add is enough for that. Let's remove this full stops as well because now they're just phrases. Phrases do not have full stops. Alright, next, display is an important word. The first word is generally important because it's a verb, it tells the operation. So generally we don't remove the first words and because they're meaningful. The we can remove, result is important, let's keep it as it is. To the user we can remove because as we just said, the user is always there. So that's it, this is the condensed form, but this is just the first bit. This is just the partial condensed form. Condensed form also has some additional rules that we'll discuss. So let's discuss the condensed form rules in the second part of this video. So see you guys in the second video.